Hello, this is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. I'm also here to talk about a very interesting topic today. And election, as election approaches, I want to talk about what to expect in 2025 if we have a Trump presidency. We're all anxious, and hopefully, if you're a US citizen, you're participating in the voting process to ensure that does not happen. But in the case that it does happen, I know, Trump has been promising mass deportations. So that's a big concern. But also, I've been getting questions from clients and prospective clients and clients that we know qualify about, well, what if they apply? What if Trump wins? What's going to happen to their VAWA, their T, or their U visas? Now, these are types of relief that we help clients to get, especially if they're already out of status and they're trying to stay here and get their papers. And so, if you've heard of Project 2025, in the publication, it does talk about getting rid of this kind of relief, the VAWA, the T, and the U visas, so that victims of abuse, victims of crime, victims of trafficking won't have this available to them to be able to stay here. However, I'm going to push back on that and here's why you still need to apply for this. Trump has, Project 2025 said this, and of course, this is basically Trump's handbook. Project 2025 publication is like a handbook for Trump to follow in his presidency. So, in this case, we are assuming that if he does take over the presidency in following Project 2025 recommendations, he will get rid of this kind of relief that does help and empower immigrants who are here without their papers. Uh, no, it's not going to be that easy, right? And we did see that during the Trump presidency when he tried to get rid of, withdraw TPS from the Haitian population, for example. He did not succeed. Eventually, they prevailed because a lot of these, now TPS is one thing, but when we're talking about, and the reason, one part of the reason why they prevailed is because he just got up and said it's terminated without proper notice, without going through the proper procedures and processes and administrative processes. And the court found that that was not admissible. He had to go through a more formal process to provide notice to hundreds of thousands of people that depended on this, that built lives here. Now, TPS, now it is discretionary for example, the president to then declare that a country is going to be designated as a TPS country. So the president does have a lot of power in that arena, and he still didn't succeed there, right? But look at this now. VAWA, the T, and the U visas, they are grounded in not the law that's controlled by the president, but by statutory law. And this means that Congress has to have a say in this. The president can't just get up and say, I'm getting rid of that statute. The president does not have control. It has already been signed into law. And because of that, it means that the president cannot just get up and say, I'm getting rid of this law. The T visa, the VAWA, and the U's would have to be changed by Congress. That means the Senate. That means the Senate, the representatives have to be on board and have to vote in order to get this changed, to get it repealed or to get it changed completely. So going in to January 2025, we're not going to just see these types of relief just go away. That means they're going to continue to be available for our clients because they have to go through the legislative process, and the legislative process is a long process, right? And thankfully, we do have safeguards in Congress. We have many individuals who do support these types of measures to protect victims of abuse. So it's not going to be easy to get rid of this. And this is why you need to make sure that you have your papers in under one of these forms of relief should you qualify, because it means that you will be protected by statutory law, not by what the president wants to do on any given day. So that's one thing I wanted to clarify here, is that you shouldn't be, thinking that you should go into hiding and not apply for relief, because when he comes in, he's just going to go ahead and get rid of all the reliefs, get rid of and just start mass deporting. There is still a process that he has to follow. And if you are protected under one of these laws, you qualify for VAWA, you qualify for a T, you qualify for the U, you qualify for asylum, then he cannot just get up and put you in the crowd and mass deport you and your family, because you have a process that you're going through and you qualify for. So these are the types of relief that we focus on. And this is exactly why we do this, because it's strong. It's grounded in strong laws, right? Statutory law, not any kind of law that's up to the president. It's not discretionary. It has, once you qualify for it, you have to get it under that statute, right? So think about that. Now let me go ahead and answer some questions. I did see one question, is ST Law the name of the office? Yes, it's ST Law Office, PLLC. Go to the link in the profile to find our official website, or call the number, or schedule your appointment on that official number. Don't Cash App, don't Zelle. We used to accept Zelle. We don't even accept Zelle anymore. So if you're contacting anybody and they're trying to tell you to Zelle them, WhatsApp them, we don't do WhatsApp. So there's no WhatsApp. Tell them if they're telling you to Cash App or send money through any kind of money apps, no, we have a formal way of booking appointments here, and we're going to send you a link to our invoice, or you're going to see my PayPal on the official page. So we do PayPal, and you pay through ST Law Office. So go to the official page if you want to go ahead and schedule. Now is the time, right? Now is the time. And whether Trump wins or not, we are here to fight for our clients, and the policies are firm and set in place for us to effectively represent our clients, because we don't choose losing cases. We choose cases that we know are going to win. And that's why our approval rating is so high. All right. So now let's do questions. Put those questions in the comments. All right. Will there be any implications for international students or persons on student visas? So no, we haven't heard anything about student, now Project 2025 says a lot. And one thing they said is that they would want to get rid of visas. And so that could possibly come down later on in the process. But once again, big changes like that is going to definitely face big fights, and it's not going to be easy to get rid of these kinds of benefits. So now visas are slightly different than the T, the VAWA, the U, in that visas, there's no right? There's no, while visas are dictated by immigration law, visa holders they have a limited ability to appeal decisions. And so it tends to be a little harder and less flexible. But once again, if he was thinking of doing a blanketed change, like no student visas whatsoever, then in that case, that's gonna be an uphill battle. Based on experience, how long does it take for approval of work permit if you don't want to get married? So that's not how we evaluate. So there's no case type that we could measure to say work permit if you don't want to get married, right? It depends on what you qualify for. What's T status? T status is for victims of trafficking. Make sure you follow me because I explain that a lot. Now, if you're here in the US, you're put in a situation where you felt forced to work or to do acts that you weren't willing to do, but you felt like you had to do them, then that means that you could possibly qualify for the T status. So, for example, if you work for an employer that promised you certain wages, didn't pay, or they underpaid you, they skipped out on payments to you, they overworked you. Those are red flags that we start with to determine whether you qualify for T. So this is where I say give us a call because it does require us to go through a detailed evaluation. So give us a call. It's life changing today. I just met with my clients who are here in Florida and gave them their work permits and just to see the relief, the joy in their faces, the sense of achievement after what they've been through, and that was based on the T. So it's a game changer and it's a life changer. All right. Will there be an effect on marriage visa? So we haven't seen anything. Now, keep in mind, we're going to see changes. We're going to see proposed changes from Trump for sure. What those changes will be exactly, we don't know. I mean, Project 2025 does go into some detail on what limitations there will be. They're looking at limiting some family-based visas, maybe not necessarily the marriage-based. But what we did find in the Trump administration, because I did practice during his administration, was that spouses could still apply, but everything was just a little more stringent, right? You had to make sure that all your T's were crossed, all the I's were dotted, or that could be a reason for a denial. So it's everything, including marriage-based green cards, is a lot more stringent. Staying a couple of months without status a while back, will it affect the green card app through VAWA? So no, being here, no, I don't know what your facts are, but being here with all your papers, unless you have a permanent bar, isn't going to necessarily affect the VAWA. What if your wife withdraws from the petition? What can you do? Give us a call. Let's talk about the facts here, because then I would want to know what happened. If it's based on mistreatment, like your spouse did it out of spite and sabotaged you intentionally, that's a red flag for extreme cruelty, and that can qualify you for VAWA. So this is where you definitely give us a call and schedule your appointment. Does prima facie mean approval? No, it doesn't. What prima facie does mean is that on an initial review of your case, they feel like you've met all the requirements, but they're gonna put it through a more detailed review later on, and at that point they'll make a final decision. The prima facie is sort of like, I describe it like this: a pre-approval letter. It's like when you're buying a house and you get a pre-approval letter to start shopping for a house, to show the sellers that this is the amount that you're potentially going to be approved for. But then when you put the offer down on the house, then the underwriter at the bank that is going to be issuing the mortgage does a more detailed review, right? And at that point, if anything is a red flag to them, they can withdraw that pre-approval and not approve the mortgage. So it's the same thing as this, where it gives you the green flag to move forward with benefits, sometimes even your ID in your state, depending on what state you're in. But it's not it's not over till it's over until you get that final decision. Sometimes the request for evidence can come later on, right before approval. Can B2 expired visa eligible for DV lottery adjustment of status? No. So you have to be maintaining your status here in order to do that. Got RFE medical after a VAWA green card update, say RFE received. How long for a decision? I would say anywhere from 2 months to a year to get the green card after that. Could come in the mail. How long is it taking for green card holder of 20 plus years to get naturalized? 2 months to 8 months are the case, how long the cases take for me. Can you work in different states when you're married due to better money? Yes, but you have to be very careful about that. You want to approach that head on in your application. Don't pretend as if you're living together when you're not, because the officer can find that out in your background check or public records check. So you want to be upfront about the reason that you may not be living together regularly and how are you working around not living together to maintain your lives together as a married couple. Can you apply for VAWA outside of the US? I need to work for my kids. No. So if you're talking about working, you won't be getting a work permit while being outside of the US. It's only for people in the US. So it's limited for those outside of the US. What's your phone number? So if you go to the top of the screen, let me see if it should be at the top of the screen. The immigration attorney Sharifa host, and the number is there, 561-405-4889. I like that one. H. White Passmore. I like that. So the consultation fee is $150. We start there. And then when we do a full evaluation of what your case, we confirm you're qualified, then we definitely will provide you a quote. If you got and have to go to court, could that cause problems with your immigration? I'm so sorry, Daniel. No, I would it should not. You are the victim. So if you were victimized, assaulted here, and it's going through court, that will not affect your current immigration status. But what I would say is if you don't have your papers here, it's time to give us a call, because it sounds like you could qualify for relief to get your papers. But you as a victim, it will not affect you. Now, I do have to understand your case, the facts involved to fully advise you and confirm, but I'm just going off of the limited facts I have here. But I'm so sorry that that's happening. How long it take to get green card after T visa approval and VAWA approval? So VAWA and T are two different case types. The T visa, it can take anywhere from like about 5.5 years after, if you go the long route. If you do the early application process, you could be looking at getting the green card on the 2.5 to 3 year mark after you've been approved for T. But keep in mind, if you don't go the early route, you have to wait 3 years and then apply for adjustment of status and then wait for the process of adjustment of status. And right now that process is about 1.5 to 2 years. Can you work in different states? So I answered that. Is it possible to still get a green card after lying to have a real marriage and now they find out, can I get married green card after even with a child? So that's where you definitely need to talk to us. Once they find marriage fraud, you're banned from being approved for an I-130, any type of I-130 in the future. So you definitely want to work on avoiding an allegation of marriage fraud. To get T visa, what type of documents or information would be needed as proof? Your statement is going to be the main evidence, and then the rest depends on what you have, and that we need to talk to you about that. But what I say is here, don't worry about the proof. We'll take care of that. What I need to know is, what do you remember? As long as you, whatever you hold in your head, are the memories of what happened to you, then that can be turned into evidence by putting your memories onto paper, and that's called your declaration. So that's where I'm saying what you need to do is empower yourself by contacting us and let us get to work on it. What's the cost to do the VAWA? So that's where you need to schedule your appointment. We need to confirm you qualify. My VAWA travel document is approved. What's next? So after this, then probably a couple of prima facies will come your way, and then a decision. When T approved, after that, victim can file green card immediately. There's a process. So you do have to apply for permission to get the green card early. So yes, it can start immediately, but there's going to be a process. So if you're ready, give us a call. Good day. How long it take for NVC to schedule a visa appointment? It depends on what kind of visa. If it's a B1, B2, or a non-immigrant visa, it could be a matter of weeks, just depending on how long, weeks or months, depending on how long the wait list is. If it's for your green card, you're looking at a year and a half to get that interview. My VAWA was approved 2 weeks ago. The I-485 was submitted concurrently with VAWA. Can Trump delay my green card? Now, what we did see was that, yes, when Trump came in, they did use tactics to cause massive delays in the system. So issued RFEs unnecessarily, would sit on documents or sit on applications for a while before making a decision, would implement confusing policies that just created a lot of confusion. So now, if you got the approval, no, I think there's very little stopping you though from getting that green card. But let's hope. While this is a possibility, of course, I say U.S. citizens, you're listening here. You know what to do, just like I know what to do. Let's work together to not let this happen, because it is going to still, there are going to be changes for the negative changes. I do anticipate with Kamala Harris's win, those are definitely going to be on more the positive side. We've seen positive changes already that have been life-changing for our clients. So I'd anticipate that that's going to continue. And then should we have the right conditions in Congress, we will probably see immigration reform. So we're not only U.S. citizens, because permanent residents, you can't vote yet. If you want to vote, become a U.S. citizen and register to vote. But U.S. citizens, it's not just important, because a lot of people think the president is the person that holds all the power. That's not true. Remember, that's what I was explaining earlier, that as the president, he cannot just get up and get rid of laws that are based on statute that Congress passed, right? So that's a limited power of the president. The president, once he signs that into law, it's law. He can't just go and take it off the books. Congress controls that part. And that means, and this is why the Biden administration has been so limited. Biden doesn't have the power to drive, to finalize immigration reform. He's trying his best, but as you can see, it's met time and time again by litigation, because what he's doing is he's using his discretion. He's using his presidential power to the best of his ability through what's called executive actions, right? So he's using his executive powers, but it's limited, and it's not statutory law. It's just him basically using his discretion and the powers that he has to do that. But Congress, once they pass a law and the president signs it into law, then that means that it's more of an entitlement. It is grounded in law. And once the Congress has to create that. Congress has to change the immigration system for the better. And to do that, we need to vote people in who support positive immigration reform. So that means your senators, your representatives, your state senators, your state representatives, they are going to be essential, right, in this process of working towards immigration relief for our friends, our family, our employees. That's what's going to get us there. So, not just the president. Voting in the president, as we can see, Biden is limited, right? He's still limited, and that's frustrating, but it's not his fault because we don't have the right senators, and we don't have the number. We don't have the number of senators we need and the number of representatives we need to overcome the opposition to immigration reform and to pass it. So think about that. Do your research. Who's supporting immigration relief? Vote for them. 2. Married to U.S. citizen, July 2024. We have so far joint account, joint car insurance, added lease, credit card, power bill, wedding ceremony, receipt of gifts to her, etc. Can we file? So I'm not your attorney and I can't tell you, go ahead and file. That would be reckless of me. But as far as the evidence goes, you're definitely on the right track. But keep in mind that the evidence is definitely one of the big pieces, but you have to make sure that you complete the right documentation to avoid, delays as well. If employer doesn't give the SSN benefits to employee, can it be fraud based on victim? Yes. So, and they have stated this in the policy manual that if the employer blocks certain benefits from the employee who doesn't have the immigrant, then that is a form of coercion that can lead to trafficking. So, absolutely. Absolutely. So give us a call. This is not the type of application, though, that you're going to do at home on your own. Please don't do that. And don't go to any paralegals or any notaries, or this is definitely out of their league. So you need to make sure you have, you don't want to mess that up. For example, I see here and I see that strong fact, but you can, believe it or not, you can still have strong facts. You can still have a strong case and you can completely mess up your case, right? So just get in touch to be qualified and represented. All right. Do you offer payment plans? Yes, absolutely, we do. Does T visa apply to persons working who entered in a B2 visa but working? Yes, absolutely. Give us a call, and we've helped many clients in that situation. We've helped clients with H2Bs as well who have come here to follow the law. They came here legally, they did everything right, and it was still the employer that use that visa to traffic them. So it doesn't matter how you're here, right? What matters is what is happening to you and who's forcing you to do it. How long it takes the USCIS to open your documents? They receive it from September 24th. So usually the same day of receipt, but it probably takes time to process. I'd say 2 to 3 weeks. Sometimes even up to 6 to 8 weeks, depending on how busy they are. I have 10 years, green card. Can I file for my mom? No, you have to be a US citizen. Can you go to your home country while on TPS? You can get the travel document while on TPS. I would say that's risky because if you're going, it just depends on your case. But going back, the whole reason for TPS is you can't go back to the country because it's not safe for you to go back. So going back on TPS may be, pose a risk to you. Thanks so much for the gifts. I appreciate it. All right, I'm scrolling through. Yes, exactly. So on January 6th, Trump tried to force Pence to overturn result of our election. Yes, exactly. And that's, we're hoping that's not going to repeat itself. Is the name of your company or the law firm ST Law Office? Yes, ST Law Office. go to the link in the profile to access our official link tree with all our official pages. If someone's VAWA already approved, does that guarantee green card? No. They still are going to evaluate your adjustment of status, but it means you're on the way. As long as you don't have any permanent bars, or you're not supposed to apply for a waiver first, then it means you're on a really good path. But it just depends, right? Because I've had situations where we still have to go through additional steps to get to the green card, like a waiver, submit waivers, overcome permanent bars. That's where you were here unlawfully, you left, and then you came back without permission. That it can lead to a permanent bar. How long does FOIA results take? I'd say 2 to 4 weeks right now. Based on experience, how long? So I answered that. I'm just going through. If your wife withdraws a petition, give us a call. I want to find out why. And because that may qualify you to apply for your own green card, your own work permit without that spouse. How long take I-130, I-485 for stepchild in New York? So I'd say 10 to 12 months. If all being well, it's all done correctly. How long does a U visa process take? 7 to 10 years total, but you can get your work permit within I'd say a year and a half to 2 years. Can I text you? Yes, go ahead. You can DM us for sure, and you'll get an answer. Can a boss sponsor you if you don't have a green card? Yes, employers can sponsor you, but if you don't have your papers now, they can't. So if an employer has fraudulently promised to get you your papers just to get you to stay in that situation, you can look at the T visa, because then they use fraud to get you to stay, and now they're not getting you your papers. Can you apply for VAWA outside of the US in limited circumstances? Like if they were in the military or they were working for the federal government. Can you work in different states when you are married due to better money? So I answered that. My VAWA advance parole was sent in 8/23, still haven't received anything. It can take up to a year to get that. Got RFE for I-864, then sent it with mistake, wrong household number. So I believe we talked about that. You're going to have to contact them to let them know about the error and to fix that, to make them take note of that. Hi, I asked whether it's possible to get temp work permit on B1, B2. No, you're not supposed to be here on a B1, B2 and apply for your work permit. So remember, the conditions of your visitor's visa is you don't work. So you can't apply for a work permit. But I've had situations where my clients come in on a visitor's visa and they end up in a really bad situation where somebody convinced them they could get their work permit and convinced them to come and work, and then they found out that was false. And in those cases, they qualified for the T visa, and that's how they got their papers to stay here. I went to USA last August and I stayed only a month. They gave me 6 months. Can I still go back the same month? So be careful, because I've seen where they do cancel the visas for some people who travel very often and they start to suspect you're working. What will happen if I submit I-751 late? You have to show, give a very good reason for why it was late. Don't submit it without submitting that reason, but this is where you need to definitely give us a call, contact us to get started on your process, because you have to give them a valid explanation or they can deny it. Can I check my T visa receipt on the tools online status, because my receipt said that the number is wrong? So keep in mind that they are supposed to start allowing those, online viewing of the T status. But in every single one of our clients' cases, it shows as invalid. The reason they do that, though, is because they're very sensitive to confidentiality and they don't want potential traffickers to be tracking that number too. So that may be the reason. That's what's happening with every single one of our cases. So we do have to wait for the answer in the mail, which can, be a little nerve-wracking for our clients. But can a Jamaican spouse with no green card get the benefits from their husband of 50 years who has died? That wouldn't be my area. If it's Social Security, then you would have to talk to our Social Security. So I scheduled an appointment, and after I get no response, so you're supposed to get confirmation, call the office and get assistance. Now, we have receptionists, we have agents who are answering messages, we have receptionists who answer calls, we have our intakers who also answer the calls. So you will definitely get assistance with that to confirm that your appointment is set. It may be your email too, because we do send confirmation emails. So just call the office and they'll help you confirm everything. Can your employer put your papers in on a B2 visa? Yes, that's possible. But right now there is a wait list and you can't overstay your visa while you wait for the papers to go through. So you have to be very careful with that. Can a denied family-based petition 10 years ago still make an appeal? No, you wouldn't be able to appeal that. Usually you have 30 days after the denial to appeal if you do qualify for an appeal. All right, that's gonna be it. Overstayed visa can do a waiver in some cases. So for T, they don't require a waiver. For VAWA, they don't require a waiver. For U, they don't require a waiver unless there was some kind of fraud involved. So yes, it is. The waiver sometimes isn't even necessary, just depending though on what you qualify for. Now, if you want a waiver to get forgiveness, try to turn the hands back on your visa, no, you wouldn't be able to do that. How long does it take for a US citizen daughter to file for a mother? I'd say under a year, 10 to 12 months. I have VAWA pending. My EAD card will expire on April 2025. Should I renew? And there's fee for renewal, no fee for the renewals if you're doing VAWA. And I would say at least 6 months before the expiration date. If Trump wins, will it affect VAWA cases? So as far as anything to do with VAWA, where it is based on statute, it's going to be a little harder. So he has to go through a process. He has to go through Congress to change those requirements or to get rid of it altogether. So it's not going to be up to the president. Are you in Florida? Yes. So I'm in Florida, but I do represent clients all over the country. So not just in Florida. I got my green card last week, but incorrect date of birth. So you can submit an I-90 form and show them that they made the mistake. If they made the mistake, you don't have to pay, and then they'll make a correction. What are the options for overstay? Now, usually you have to send the green card back. Just get an I-551 stamp in your passport. You have to set an appointment at the USCIS to get that. But that I-551 stamp will be proof of your permanent residence while you wait for the physical card to come. I have a friend married to a U.S. citizen for 3 years, but the woman did not give him status or a green card. They separated already for a reason over jealousy. Now the man doesn't have status. Let's get in. Have your friend call us and we can talk and we can evaluate him for VAWA, because he can then apply for his own papers in a confidential process without involving that spouse. Thanks so much, Ahmed. I appreciate that. What's the address of your office? So we have 1615 South Congress Avenue, Delray Beach, 33445. We also have our other office, which is 1825 Northwest Corporate Boulevard, Suite 110, Boca Raton, Florida. So, and you can go to the link in the profile to get the information. After submitting VAWA, what's the max to get the answer? I'd say 2 to 8 weeks. 8 weeks is the longest I've seen for the receipt notices to come, especially when it starts to get towards the end of the year. It does get it does slow down because now there are a number of holidays. There's Thanksgiving, there's a Christmas holidays, there's New Year's. Then it tends to speed back up after the New Year. So get on it so these things can be handled before then. All right, that's going to be it for me. Thanks so much for your time. Happy weekend. I will see you on Monday. And remember, just like, subscribe, follow. That way, you can get notification when I'm on. And that way, you can jump on. If you're available, you can jump on at the same time that I'm on. And then we can talk. I can answer some questions and tell you any updates that's going on. How long incorrect green card? Oh gosh, it could be up to a year and a half. So that's just the part that is a little frustrating. But get that stamp. So if your U.S. citizen spouse did not file taxes, it could affect the affidavit of support. If they didn't have to file taxes, that's fine. Like if their income was really low and they didn't qualify to file taxes, that's fine. But if they were required to file taxes and they didn't, that's going to affect the affidavit of support. So that's what you need to check on. All right, have a good one, guys. Remember, the way that I'm going to be able to help you is by you empowering yourself and calling the office or scheduling your own appointment. It's me, it's Attorney Bria, it's Attorney Diana. So we have 3 schedules available to you. But keep in mind that our schedules are filling up very quickly because we want to help as many people as possible, and many people want help. So go ahead and schedule your appointments now. Don't wait. Schedule, choose the closest appointment that works for you so that we can get to work, right? Attorney Diana, Attorney Bria works very closely with me, and we have the same goals. All right. So they will ask you the same questions I would ask you, they would evaluate the same case, same facts that I would evaluate to determine how we can help you. Have a good one. Bye.